All right, we've got the kit reveal for Madelyne Pryor, as well as some reworks for Strife, Mystique, and Mr. Sinister. You can see that they are getting stat increases right there, as well as reworks of the kits. And I believe the intent for this team is to make them stronger on war defense, although I think there's going to be a lot of other places that they're going to be useful. But for me, I'm seeing that Marauders largely have been put on the shelf, on the bench, or not getting used at all. So hopefully this takes them off the bench. I don't think they're going to be crazy broken like Heroes for Hire or anything like that. But I do think they're going to stop like one of the counters that I always used with Shadowlands, because they've put some mechanics into the kit that are going to stop certain teams potentially like Shadowlands. Let's get into Madelyne's kit before we do the reworks for Strife, Mystique, and Mr. Sinister. Traits: Villain, Global, Mutant, Controller, Marauder. We're going to skip down to her passive, Goblin Queen. When an enemy attacks any Emma Frost, Marauder, or cloned ally below 50%, mind control the ally with the highest damage to attack that enemy. So, you know how like Shadowlands has all that anti-mind control? That right there says to mind control an ally. So that is going to be very good against even Shadowlands. The controlled character gains 30% damage for that attack. So we've got basically a retaliation mechanic that works only for allies when they're below 50% health. Gain 20% focus damage, and that applies to the entire Marauder team. Gain a 50% chance to assist on non-attack abilities, and they're suggesting that Skirmisher is going to be amazing on her. That way you can be able to take advantage of the Skirmisher Striker, because she should be assisting 50% of the time. On war defense, gain 50% resistance per enemy brawler. Lower crit chance by 50% for all mutant enemies. So that's a call out right there. An anti-X Factor mechanic, right? So basically X Factor, if they can't crit, then Longshot and Shatterstar's passive are not going to be triggering, so that's very interesting. On spawn, fill speed bar by 30% for a random Strife ally. And I noticed that we're going to look at some footage here, and in the footage, Strife goes before the Shadowlands team does. And so he's taunting before the Disrupted goes on him, before Electra can put the Disrupted. And then he's got a new charge mechanic where he has higher resistance if he's paired up with Mystique. So it looks like they boosted the team a little bit, but they also put certain things in the kit to counter very specific teams, like the lower crit chance for all mutant enemies. So that very much is going to hurt the viability of X Factor. Now let's go to her, excuse me, her ultimate. Brimstone, Meteor, energy cost 4-6, flip all positive effects on primary target, attack the primary target for 600% damage, and prolong the duration of all negative effects by 1. And then on war defense, this attack targets the most injured non-sentiment enemy. So basically it's going to burst down whoever's on your team that has the lowest amount of health if they're injured, but it's not going to go after summons. This attack can target Dark Phoenix. Unkilled, generate 2 ability energy for random Mr. Sinister ally, which means that he's going to be healing up a bunch more, and that's always kind of annoying. This attack cannot be blocked. And then her special Hellfire Vortex energy cost 6/6. Attack all enemies for 300% damage. Apply defense down for 2 turns. So keep in mind that this attack right here will also be attacking into defense down, which is very powerful. And then there's also counters to very specific teams, although I'm not sure I'd be using Uncanny X-Men on offense versus this team anyways. If Cyclops, Phoenix, or Dark Phoenix is an enemy, bonus attack all enemies for 300% damage. There you go. Apply offense down to 2 turns to all Brawlers and Blasters enemies, and then Disrupted for 2 turns to all Protector and Controller enemies. Boy, that's pretty strong right there. Disrupted on all the tanks, basically. And then check this. Apply ability block for 2 turns to all support enemies. And this particular mechanic right there makes me feel like she will be used in other places. Although energy cost 6/6 kind of does worry me. It's kind of high. This attack cannot be counterattacked. And then on war defense, the attack is unavoidable, and apply ability block also to all enemy protectors. So it does seem very good, and I do want to read what the developers said about her kit, and we're going to also play some footage right here for Shadowland. Now, I believe this footage was put together before some of the boosts went into play for Mr. Sinister, Mystique, and Strife. And I just want to say, this is developer-provided footage. And I have found that there is what the developers wanted the team to do, the way that the team reads, and then lastly, the way that the team actually works in-game. So I'm skeptical to read too much into this, but the first thing that you'll notice right here is that Strife has a charge on him, and we're going to read about what that is, and he's going before Elektra can put the Disrupted on him. And then also, Mystique now is going to have a stun mechanic, and she's going to stun Night Nurse, which absolutely just debilitates this team. Before we get into the reworks on Mr. Sinister, Mystique, and Strife, we're going to just read some of the notes right here. Good focus and good bait damage. Madelyne Pryor lets the Marauders overcome some of the counters, for example, Shadowlands, and bring back a lot of her damage the team had when Sabretooth was dropped from Weapon X. That's right. As a villain, she mind controls her own allies to attack enemies, which helps them get around some of the anti-mind control mechanics that Shadowlands, Icarus, and Cersei have. Skirmisher for Icer 8. I think we're going to definitely see Skirmisher Striker combo go off on her, as well as applying Vulnerable when she assists on non-attack abilities. Who does this character best work with and why? She works with the entire Marauder team, but she can be a powerhouse on her own depending on the classes of enemies she's fighting. Disrupting a controller, ability blocking support can help win otherwise losing battle. Anything else? No. Well, I also want to read her basic attack. I think we skipped over that. Attack primary target for 300% damage, and then it's flip one positive effect into a negative effect. And then on war defense, flip 3 additional positive effects on the primary target. So I believe that, that's going to be very helpful with her assist and counterattack. All right, let's take a look at the reworks for the Marauders. And it's okay, right? We get some new stuff on there. So let's go up to the top and take a look at that. First things first, we're going to go over Strife. Basically, what I was saying on war defense, if Mystique is an ally, bury all allies for 25% of this character's max health. And so that way, it basically on his special, he's going to give Barry to everyone. His special gave 2 ability energy to all Marauders, but it will not affect Madelyne Pryor. His ultimate now, on kill, gain taunt up to maximum of 3. And then if it has charge, clear charge. And the charge gives him extra resistance. We're going to go over that here on his passive. But I think that the ultimate, which, his cleave attack, if he does get a kill, then he's going to be taunting all the time. They did change some other things on his passive. When a mutant villain drops below 70% max health, it used to be 50% health, he gains a taunt. While this character has charged, gain 500% resistance, and the only way that he can get resistance is if the match is started with Mystique. Now, and I think the most important thing about Strife in this new rework right here is that when he's paired up with Madelyne, he's going to get extra turn meter, and like in that first match, you're going to see that he quite often is going to be going first, just like he's here in this match, which allows him to get the taunt and actually do things. And then he also did get a boost to his health because he had relatively weak health before. Let's go to Mystique, and we're going to read this. Mystique has a stun now on her special, which I think is very powerful. Her basic attack does more damage. And then the mechanic there, if she's paired up with Magneto, now also applies to Madelyne. Copy all positive effects except for taunt. On war defense, when this character performs a counterattack or assist, apply bleed. Very nice. She's going to do more damage on her special. And then if Madelyne is her ally as well as Magneto, the attack is unavoidable. So largely that just changed. That stayed the same. They just added the Madelyne part to the kit. Now her ultimate, I believe, is quite a bit better because it now will say not only be more damage on war defense, the attack is now going to be unavoidable. The attack targets a non-summon enemy with the lowest speed, which like in the Shadowlands team was Night Nurse, instead of the primary target, ignoring taunt and stealth. Apply taunt to the primary target. And then if this target has 3 or more Marauder allies, apply stun to that target. So that really is going to throw off a lot of mechanics and teams and so on. Now we got to get to Mr. Sinister Rework. They basically made the AI on who he clones quite a bit smarter than it was before. His ultimate, this ability targets, oh, you can't see it right here. Let's see if I have a way. Well, I'll just read it to you. This ability targets the non-summon enemy with the highest damage instead of the primary target, ignoring taunt and stealth. This ability can target Phoenix. Let me drag this down so you can see it right there. This ability targets non-summon enemies with the highest damage instead of the primary target, ignoring taunt and stealth. This ability can target Dark Phoenix. So, I do think that this will be a viable defensive war team. I don't think it's going to be the best. I don't think it's going to be anything like Heroes for Hire. I don't even know if it's going to be as strong as Young Avengers, but I do think it's going to come off the bench, and the old counters that we had to this team are not going to work. Specifically, we saw that Shadowlands. Again, like I said, developer provided footage. I'm always very skeptical of this information, and we will have to see for sure when it comes to the game. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And as always, thanks for watching and keep on gaming.